there's a new little business right down the street from RacinBoys called Primo's. And I dropped in there the other day, and Primo's Tire Shop down at 23rd and Northern, right off of 23rd Street. I want to let everybody know that we got our new tires over there at Primo's. He did us a really good job. So if you get a chance, go over there to 23rd and Northern over in Independence. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and they're open Sundays as well. And I promise you that he'll take really good care of you, and he's really did us a good job and taking care of the RacinBoys truck in a prompt and timely fashion. Go over to Primo's, 23rd and Northern. Make sure you tell Primo the RacinBoys sent you. Joining us now is a guy that we've been talking a lot about Lakeside here. And when I was going to Lakeside Speedway back in the 80s, there was this 53 car, man. You had to outrun him if you were going to win. And I'm talking about Joe Kosiski, now promoter I-80 up in Greenwood, Nebraska. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing absolutely great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Looks like you had a great night of racing up at I-80 last night, huh?
Yeah, we had a 96 cars. We great night of racing got done. I got a little practice session going on today. I got about 8 cars out here this morning doing a little practice session, trying to get some of these young kids a little better on their race cars.
Wow. Now, do you do that often, or open up the track to let people come in and practice?
On Saturday mornings, we do it a lot. You know, the people race on Friday night. They've got their pit pass. They've, tried to help us, and we try to help them out on Saturday mornings, especially the young people that need some time to get their race cars and try to get them a little better.
That's probably pretty important at a place like I-80, which is big, fast, and, well, some people will call it treacherous because it's just so fast. Giving some drivers a little extra track time, that sounds like a good idea on my part.
Yep, it works out real good for them.
Yeah.
Well, you had a big night of racing last Saturday night. Scott Bloomquist, the big winner of the $30,000. Your comments about another great Silver Dollar Nationals last weekend?
Well, all I can tell you is the Silver Dollar Nationals, if you've never been here to see it, you got to come because it's unbelievable. It gets so hectic for me as a promoter. I've got so many things on my mind to try to make the fan, I want them to go away with the best experience we can. Worrying about the racetrack, my brother does a great job on the track. He does all the grading and water, and him and Mike Rusco, and them guys, they want to make sure it's perfect. And other than Scott, he stuck up the show a little bit, starting on the front and winning the race. There was passing everywhere in the field. Dennis Erb come from 26th to 10th, and Billy Moyer with about 13 to go was in 10th to come to 4th. And I mean, it was just a great race. Great race.
Joe, that track is so action-packed that you brought up something. That Scott was out in front, kind of stunk up the show. Because of the death-defying feat sometimes that you see up there, because, I mean, that is one of those tracks that when you're a fan in the grandstands, you look at the cars and you can say, whoa, those guys are going really fast. It doesn't have to always be about the lead up there. I mean, you just good racing throughout the field can satisfy a fan up there.
Absolutely. And I had more people come to me like last night that was here and says, that was just amazing. There was cars racing top, bottom, in the middle. I mean, there was cars everywhere, and it was just amazing set there. I did get to watch the feature race finally, and I thought, oh, my God, the racetrack is so perfect tonight. Them guys done a great job because there was racing everywhere. Other than Scott, he looked like he was on a highway. Just about 8 car lengths in the lead. He never could pull away from him. Brian Burkhoffer pulled up on him a couple times, and they had that last restart with 13 to go, and I kind of thought, we're going to have a race now. Scott pulled back out 8 car lengths. And the rest of them were all racing and passing each other.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Bloomquist led a good portion of the race a few nights before that at Lakeside, but he just couldn't hold off Jimmy Owens. And everybody was thinking about, who's going to beat Jimmy Owens right now? But apparently Bloomquist got something figured out there in the couple of days between Lakeside and I-80, didn't he?
Yeah, Bloomquist done it, and Burkhoffer beat him, and Jason Fager was close. And I think if Moyer would have had another 3 or 4 laps, he'd have passed Owens too. I mean, it was just that kind of a race.
Yeah. Talk about last night's action up there. Give us a little rundown for the people that haven't had a chance to read a press release or hear what happened up there.
Well, Jace Kaiser won the feature last night. He's about a young, I'm going to tell you, he's in college yet, so he's probably somewhere around 20 years old, and he's just a good little racer. He's won our state championship up here for NASCAR. He's just a good little racer. Between him and Tad Pospisil, I got a bunch of real good young racers coming up, and the people are starting to know who they are. I mean, I got Tad Pospisil's, just in his 20s, and You know, my boy Andrew Kosiski's in his 20s. Billy Layton's in his 20s. I mean, and you know, we run a series called the SLMR Series. And so you guys know, you may not know this yet, but we're going to be at Lakeside during the Winston Cup, or during the Nextel Cup weekend.
Oh, great.
Our series is going to be there with the late models with the USMTS modified set. So for the fans that don't think they're going to go see late models that weekend, we are coming. And we bring a good group of little racers. The ULMA guys, they'll be real close. We're real close with them guys. They'll be able to go up and race. Should be plenty of late model racing going on that weekend.
What's the difference between your cars and, let's say, a full-blown super late model?
Well, see, the full-blown super late models could come and race with us last weekend. In fact, the 91 car out of California, I can't remember his name, Jason Papich, I believe is how you say his name, he did race with us. And all we do is we stick a restrictor under the motor, so it helps make the full-blown aluminum motors work with the, you know, the all-steel, stock steel head, you know, type of motors. So guys who've got motors sitting under their shells for years, they put them in their late model. You can have a good late model. They put them in their cars and they come race with us. And by using them restrictors, we can make everybody equal.
Yeah. Joe, how have you managed, because, you know, I travel all over the country with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour and see a lot of support classes, a lot of weekly racing across the country, and not many people are running late models anymore. But you've been successful with that up at I-80. How come?
I don't know for sure why, but we keep trusting that we don't want to lose them. You know what I mean? Everybody, when they got down to 14, 15 cars, the best thing to do, you always hear, is drop your biggest class. But for us, we tried to drop them for 1 year. I went to a crate late model class. We dropped the super late models for 1 year, and we've seen the grandstands decline. You know, and it's kind of like I explained to people. We brought them back. I mean, I got two brothers involved in it, and it goes, well, you know, you got your biggest purse, you got your lowest car count, what are we going to do? We're going to keep racing them. And my feeling is, if I'm going to a baseball game, and if the Kansas City Royals come up here to Omaha and play the Omaha Royals, I'm going to go out there. If two high school teams are playing in that same stadium, I'm probably not going to make it. And that's kind of the way I feel about racing. You've got to give the fan that special something to make you want to be there night after night.
Yeah, that's no doubt about that.
And be willing to stick with it and not give up. I think that's the key. Too many people throw in the towel too quick.
Yep.
Well, it's no surprise that you'd have a commitment toward late model racing. Do you work with Adams County Speedway and Corning? You guys got similar rules together?
Ours in Adams County is real close. Our restrictors are just a touch off, you know, a touch difference. Other than that, we're really about the same. We work real well with Adams County. We work real well with the guys out at McCool Junction. You know, we're all three NASCAR tracks. We try to work together and do the same thing. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, just that's the only way we can really keep everything going for everybody. I mean, people tell me, oh, this racetrack I hear is closing up, and I go, that's terrible. Well, what do you mean it's terrible? You won't have the competition. I says, because when somebody's at that racetrack and they're talking that night, they're saying, I'm going to go to Silver Dollar Nationals next week. I'm going to go to the Fall Brawl and watch a sprint car race. Well, you know what? That track's close. Now that little local fan isn't going to get to my track because he didn't know nothing about them races in some cases.
Yep, you're absolutely right about that. Point. Hey, just another question about the SLMR. You had a race on Thursday night at Crawford County Speedway in Denison. Yep. I'm told that they took out that big half-mile racetrack. They built a smaller racetrack there.
The front stretch to back stretch is still the same distance, and turn 1 and 2 is still the same corner. But they brought turn 3 and 4. I bet they cut 75 to 100 feet. I mean, it's in half is what it probably is for straightaways now. And it's a great racetrack. I mean, they've done a good job. They've got nice walls, nice grant. I mean, it's a beautiful facility sitting up there, and they're having a problem not getting enough people and enough race cars.
Now they got
tough time to get in this industry, really.
Yeah. That grandstand they've got up there is as big as any racetrack you'll ever go to. What's that thing seat? About 5,000 people?
He told me 7,500 on Thursday night.
Oh my God!
That place was big and fast. It needed to be cut down. Joe, before we let you get out of here, you know, we're near and dear to the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, and we've got the Midwest Fall Brawl coming up on September 19th and the 20th. You'll be running the SLMR super late models, and Gottra's going to be up there as well. Looking forward to that. That should be a big event for you.
I'll tell you, everybody I've talked to right now, Chuck Zitterich, one of the head guys, you know, for the Midwest region here, He says if all the 360s come that he's being told, he says you're probably going to have about 75 360s at that race. And, you know, for $50,000 bonus, if you can win 2 of the races, we're not only going to have 50 or 75 cars, we're going to have 50 or 75 good race cars.
Jack taking that 20 grand home last year kind of spiked the interest of people, and that is 50,000 if I'm not mistaken this year, correct?
Yep, 50,000. It's good. It's 2 national shows. It's 3,000 to win on Friday, 5,000 to win on Saturday. We've got lap sponsors. We got $5,500 in lap sponsors right now. We're only going to pay half of that to the leader, and then it'll be 30 for second, 20 for third. We've got 2 sponsors that are paying $1,000 to win for the hard charger. So some of these guys that feel, hey, I'm not going to be the winner of a national show, they can still be a hard charger from, you know, make the features start 20th or 24th or whatever. I don't know how many cars they really start in a national show, but whatever it is, you know, you get up to 10th, you might be the guy that made the most the most money, because by the time you get your $1,000 and add it up to your 10th place, and you know, a few things like that, we've got a lot of good sponsorship going on for the race. Normally
start 20 cars, and then whatever provisionals need to be taken after that. So yeah, that should be good. I love going up to that place. It's watching sprint car racing again is death-defying at that track, man. It gives you chills to watch the slide jobs and the speeds that they carry around there. Also, Joe, before we let you go, let's talk about your 3-day event, October 10th, 11th, and 12th, the Cornhusker Classic.
That event is more. It's not made for like the national boys. It's a big. I'm going to call it an IMCA style modified. We have a few rules that are off of IMCA's. Lets more guys come in and race it. But you know, they're racing. We pay like $1,000 to win on the first day, $1,000 to win second day, and $3,000 to win the third day for the modified. So when the guys get here, they're qualifying, making features every night. We run the IMCA or the USRA stock cars with our pro-ams. We've got rules in there that make them all competitive. It's more just the local weekly show, but it's a great show, and everybody has a chance to making good money.
Joe, you'd probably be as knowledgeable about our sport as anybody, because you've been on both sides of the fence. We always talk about modified racing right now, and you said IMCA type cars, but and I don't know how you want to handle this when I ask you this question, but I'm really concerned about the cost of modified racing with the USRA, USMTS type car, and the amount of money that it takes to run one of these cars, and the continuing car count dropping at tracks that run those type of rules. Are you concerned about where modified racing is?
We've had our Charlie Clark. We run it on Memorial Day, the Sunday of Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. We had 40, I believe it was 43 of them style cars. I think they're here. You just got to get them out. They want to know that they got a chance to be able to race for something. Mm-hmm. I think the reason we're seeing them, to tell mom or to tell the kid we can't go soccer or something because I'm going to go race for $300 to win or $400 to win. And I don't want to say all tracks that way, but sometimes that's the case. Even at $700 or $800 to win, there's more important things in life to do with your family that they have to do. So we got to let them race when they can and try to throw a special for them to get them there when we can.
Yeah. I always tell people, and again, I say this every week, and I'm going to say it every week. I always try to tell people, if you have kids, invite one of their friends. If that kid gets the itch and wants to go every week, then he starts telling his parents that he wants to go each week. And then if each parent after that does the same thing, we'll get people back in the stands.
Well, we give a car ride. We have a car ride night. Last night was our car ride night. Mm-hmm. And it's really kind of ironic. A kid walks over to me and gave me a picture when he was about 5 years old, and I gave him a car ride at the old Sunset Speedway. It was me giving him a car ride, and this is his first year of racing at this track, and he races a Hornet. And he said, "You see that picture? That's what hooked me." And all he's done was went on a car ride. You know what I mean? And here he is. He's about 18 or 19, maybe 20 years old now, and he's out here racing, in the Hornet division because of that. We got kids that race. We have a little go-kart track on the back side of it. Today I'm out here, and we've got 4 of the kids that race go-karts for me in cars out here practicing right now because they've started racing this year on the big track. So we're trying to bring them up as we can, and like you say, get them hooked. You got to get the kids hooked one way or the other.
I was a kid going to watch you race at the old Lakeside Speedway. Remember, like it was just yesterday, wouldn't miss it. Wouldn't miss Gene Claxton and you and all the sportsman guys and street stock guys. I couldn't wait to get to the track every Friday and Saturday night at Riverside. So that's what we've got to do. Joe, thanks so much. If people want to find out more about I-80 Speedway, they can do so at i80speedway.com. You can also find out about the Little Sunset Speedway, the track out back, Kosiski Auto Parts, and more about the super late model racing series that you have up there. Joe, thanks so much for taking the time for us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Now.
Thank you, Joe.
There you have it. Joe Kosiski, a good man and one hell of a race car driver in his day.
You know, we were talking about dust a week ago. You're up there at Rapid City last week, had the dust. We brought up the big mile track down at Sedalia where it was dusty down there. Joe Kosiski, I think, won that day. He won on the mile track down there at Sedalia.
That dusty day.
Yeah, I think he was the winner. Claxton was involved in a big wreck on the front straightaway along with my brother. I remember that. But Joe was the winner on the mile track, somewhere about 83 or 4.
Well, 93, I drove down there. I drove a car for George Folkert. It was a car that I'd owned and I'd sold to him. It was a car that Billy Deckman had won that championship at 87 at Lakeside and I-70. It was a Camaro Stub Harris late model, believe it or not, a Harris late model. That sounds kind of weird. I don't think they build late models anymore.
No.
But I remember actually being a little frightened out there, to be honest with you. You come off of turn 2, couldn't see anything. You just kept your foot on it and hoped the car stayed straight, and hopefully you came out the other end without hitting anything. And it was a little scary. I'm not going to lie to you. It was maybe the only time that I can remember ever going, maybe I should pull in.
I was standing in the judges' stand down there scoring. Everybody had their own score, and I couldn't see anything even from there. I mean, it was just unbelievable. But, yep, Joe was – the thing I like about what we just heard from Joe is he's a great promoter. You're doing a heck of a job at I-80 Speedway right now. We don't have a lot of great promoters right now, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's one of them. The things that he's doing at I-80 Speedway right now, and that signature event that they had last weekend with the Silver Dollar Nationals and what that has grown into, and the ideas that he threw out there about that upcoming event in September with the sprint cars. It just you just listen to him talk, and you see a lot of the things that can be put in place, even at though times may be tough today, that actually work if people just put them into practice.
Alex Racer asked, 2015 Fall Brawl needs to be on RacinBoys paid per view. Working on it.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. We're working on it.
Because that's going to be, that's quickly turning into one of the major events of the whole year. The money that they're putting up, you're talking about the $50,000 bonus if you win both nights. I mean, this thing is, and the car counts that he's talking about into the 70s. I mean, this thing is really quickly turning into a major, major event.
If you really think that you can go back to back up there and win and pick up $50,000, why wouldn't you go?
Oh, absolutely.
So. Okay, well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, today's show has been brought to you by McCarthy Auto Group. You need a new or certified used car, you can do so at kccars.com. You can look at all the inventory of cars before you go to the dealership and start talking to one of the dealers on the floor. You can see what they have in their inventory. It's a great way to do it. It's hassle-free. But then when you run out to the dealership, you'll find that the salesmen and the staff at any one of the McCarthy Auto Group dealerships are second to none when it comes to friendliness and service. You need certified cars, you need collision repair, or you need insurance. You can get it all at McCarthy Auto Group. We are very, very proud to be a part of their family and looking forward for that to continue for a long, long time.